Hello, Coronado. Welcome to Comfort in the Classics. I'm Dr. Laura McKenzie. I've been an educator for the past 20 years and a lover of books for all of my life. In uncertain times as these, reading can be a way to relieve stress and to regain perspective. So I want to talk a little bit about my favorite classic works, all of whom feature a strong female character. Growing up, these strong women were a part of who shaped my idea and my ideals, and I come back to them whenever I'm in need of inspiration, guidance, or just a reminder of what we can accomplish. Let's start with an all-time favorite book series, a defining book series in my life, and actually the person for whom I was named, the Laura Ingalls Wilder Little House on the Prairie series. Now, this might seem like a children's book, which, yes, actually they are. However, rereading these books as an adult, I see so much more in them. If you've never read the series, know that the books become more adult in topic as Laura grows up. They follow her childhood through adulthood, from attending school to being the teacher. However, much as I love the main character Laura in the books, the woman I want to focus on in this series is actually Laura Ingalls' mom, Carolyn. The pioneer women are so inspiring to me. They gave up their own comforts, they sacrificed their own safety, their own health. They were so strong and purposeful in their pursuit of the American dream and in settling this great nation. Carolyn Ingalls, like so many pioneer women, grew up in an upper-class home. She was used to the creature comforts of her time. But after she married, she and her husband, as they chased their American dream, settling across the plains of Midwest, traversed and had many hardships. Rereading these books, I realized just how much we modern women take for granted. I can't imagine her life, traveling across this new nation in a covered wagon with no air conditioning, with her children, hardly any supplies, making food over an open fire, no medical care, like the time when she fell and hurt her ankle, or the time her family got malaria, or the time her daughter went blind from an illness. Carolyn's presence is strong, and it's evident in the lives of her daughters as she encourages them to follow their passions, while she always remained a constant, steadying influence in their lives. More than that, Carolyn is an equal partner in her marriage relationship. And while she sacrifices comforts, her husband makes his own compromises, promising her they will settle so their daughters can receive their education. There are certain things that Carolyn won't compromise on, and educating her daughters is one of them. As a mother and as an educator, I realize more than ever how women like Carolyn Ingalls helped shape and guide the America that we now have. Moving on to the next book is another American work. It's a classic, The Scarlet Letter. Now, Hester Prynne might not be the type of classic, strong female lead that you're used to reading about. However, this woman truly is amazing. She defied convention, she defies religious dictates, and despite all attempts to humiliate and ostracize her by her society, Hester turns what should have been her life's tragedy into a triumph. Hester's strength of character to stay true to herself and to her ideals, to raise her child as she saw fit, not to bow or give in to peer pressure or society's expectation, truly is an example to us all. She didn't care what people said of her. She was going to do her, no matter what. A warning, Nathaniel Hawthorne uses very complex vocabulary, so you might want to have a dictionary or Google handy to fully appreciate and understand this work of literature. Our next woman is Jo March from Little Women, another American classic. This work has become so beloved that many film adaptations are made from it. However, as we all know, the book is always better than the movie. Although I do admit I did enjoy the most recent Little Women film adaptation that came out this past December. Jo March was the woman I always aspired to be. She was independent, didn't need or even really want a man. She knew her destiny and she was single-minded in her pursuit of it. She wouldn't let society's expectations of marriage or money stop her. Plus, she and I shared the same childhood dream, wanting to be a writer. How could I not want to emulate her? Really, all of the March women are strong, fierce, and loving women. They faced an uncertain time. The book is set during the Civil War, and their protector and provider father was gone at war and then is injured. They face health crisis and uncertainty, but they band together and become stronger and more loving together. Moving on to our first non-American heroine, the timeless classic Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. This has been an all-time favorite book of mine for years. This well-worn copy is from college, in fact. Jane, an orphaned, penniless, abused child, remains true to herself, loyal to her friends, and faithful and kind. This was written at a time when women are viewed as property and as weak-minded, and to have a woman like Jane, strong and independent and willful and witty, she really was a revolutionary character. Jane's sass and strong will went against all convention, and while she learned to temper it a little as she grew up, she still was true to herself. My favorite quote from the book was when Jane, after being proposed to in a very cruel and heartless way by the man she loved, Mr. Rochester, told him, "Do you think that because I am poor, obscure, plain, and little, I am soulless and heartless? You think wrong." Later, she tells Mr. Rochester that they were equals, though in her time, due to both gender and their class, they were not viewed as equals. Jane's fierce loyalty to her ideals leads her to doing the right thing, although it is hard, and leaving the one she loves because to stay with him would mean she would have to compromise her values. She truly is a revolutionary and inspirational character. Finally, Pride and Prejudice, another British classic made popular with many a film adaptation. However, let me reiterate, no matter how famous the actor, no one is better than your own imagination. Books, in my opinion, are always better. Elizabeth Bennet is a strong, independent, witty woman other characters have been modeled after. Her sharp, incisive, sarcastic wit is not only hilarious, but also a commentary on the situation of women in her time. Women in Jane Austen's time were viewed as second-class citizens, if that. They were not allowed to own land, have titles, they were not entitled to an education, and they lived off the charity and support of the men in their lives. Be forewarned, Pride and Prejudice is difficult for many to appreciate because of the dry, sarcastic humor. So be warned, it's not obvious or even overt American humor. It's more refined, poking fun at the conventions and the social class restrictions of the era, which can also be difficult for Americans to understand or appreciate. This is a love story, but it is also so much more than just a simple love story. Elizabeth Bennet is determined not to marry at all than to settle for a match made for money, position, or anything else but love. She rejects suitors who offer her these things, but for whom she does not care. What I love most about this woman is that Elizabeth realizes her own failings. She owns them, and she's strong enough to become a better person because of them. Realizing our own prejudices and our own pride is not easy. Learning how to grow and change despite them, that is truly inspirational. Thank you for joining me today for reviewing just a few of my favorite books and female characters in today's Comfort Classics. These women guided, shaped, and inspired me despite all the trials and hardships they endured. They not only survived, they thrived and became better people through it all. I hope that we also can learn, grow, and thrive even in these uncertain times. Thank you, Coronado, for joining me today. Stay healthy.